everybody, this is Ed, and this is another Boosting the Signal. And this week, my guest is the purveyor of positivity, the king of Nerds Unite. It is Sully. Hey, Sully, how's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate
I
you.
I, I had to go with the king because I seen your microphone cover there, and I'm thinking, all right, there you go. You got the crown, man. You got the crown. Um, I'm really glad to see you on here and happy to talk to you. Actually, in all the years that we have tangentially known each other, we've never actually spoken like this. So this is
Isn't that crazy?
it is, and it's kind of fun. My dream was always to make it onto the fun cast, but I had no real reason to be on there, but or even go further back when you were, doing other things. I don't know if you even want to mention, but it's like, but tell us, introduce the fans, people watching here. Tell everybody who you are.
Well, my name is Sully. I'm actually a Chris Sully, but the whole world I grew up in was full of Chris's. So when I started my podcasting journey back in 2013, my very first episodes, I was like, I can't be another Chris. I was like, this is an opportunity to rebrand myself. So I chose to go with Sully, and it has just stuck because whenever I introduce myself to somebody, I'm like, Sully, like the big blue monster. And then they remember. It's just an easy one to remember. So I've stuck with it all this time. But I've been a podcaster for what I just say 13 years now. But this right now is the longest stretch that I haven't podcasted, and I've been really missing it. So your invitation was perfectly timed. I had just told my wife, like, I really want to get something going again. And then here's the invitation. I was like, perfect. I'm going to jump back in. This will be a lot of fun. I guess I dove back into the nerd culture universe, if you will, in 2012, 2013, when a buddy of mine asked me if I wanted to go to SDCC. And ever since then, this has just been where I want to be. It's where I found my family, friends that were into the same thing. So I started a business called Nerd Foo with a buddy of mine, and we podcasted and did hundreds of episodes. I went to work at Funko. We did hundreds of episodes of the Funcast, which you mentioned, and was so much fun. Had a great group there. And then COVID came around, and I was like, I want to use these skills I've developed. I want to keep going. So I started streaming, became a Twitch partner. I've been doing that for 6 years now. And at the same time, I started another podcast with my brother where we reviewed movies called Movie Retakes. I have had a blast doing it, but the last few years has been kind of a transition period. And I've gone back to work, stayed in the same industry, and just trying to find opportunities to do things like this always. I just love talking nerd.
Yeah, there's something like for me, I enjoy sitting down and talking to people. It doesn't have to always be one subject. I found myself reaching out like I've talked Power Rangers. I had the people that are running the Power Rangers comic on and talking with them and talking Star Wars or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times you get pigeonholed into a certain subject and and you look the name, it's boosting the signal. It's not star boosting or trek boosting or I'm here to boost a signal, period. It doesn't matter. And so man, I thought, man, I'd like to talk to Sully. Yeah, I'm glad to see that you accepted it and you're staying in the same work category, as it were. That's good. Yeah, you mentioned the fun cast. That was so many people. Like I'm constantly telling my wife, like we were watching Anthrax concert about 2 weeks ago. I said, "Well, there's Charlie," and she goes, "Who?" And I said, "Oh yeah, he was on the
Yeah.
Funcast." And she goes, "I don't remember." It's like, oh man, yeah. It's like I gotta go back. I gotta like find it, and I don't think I can find the Funcast anywhere anymore. But
Not all the episodes are still there, but on SoundCloud, a handful of them still are.
okay,
Unfortunately, there was a monthly fee, I guess, associated with keeping them up there, and the people that took over after my time there ended didn't opted not to keep it going. I still
okay,
have
okay.
a number of those episodes saved,
Oh yeah.
so I guess I could maybe go and pop them back up. But it's funny you mentioned Charlie. I went to Fun Days at SDCC this year, and afterwards we decided we wanted to go get some water and a snack. We popped into the Manchester Grand Hyatt and sat down, and at the table next to me, Charlie Benante
Mm,
and his wife Carla Harvey,
that's
lead
nice.
singer of Butcher Babies, and I actually struck up a conversation and reminded him about the Funcast, and we talked for a while. It was really cool.
See, it's a small world. I'm glad to see that he's still doing that and maintaining his fandom and everything else. The one thing that is sometimes it can be, you can almost think sometimes our guests, like, let's use him as an example. He's on the show, he's talking about his fandom, things that he loved, and you think, okay, is he promoting? Is he just saying this? Is it a car salesmanship deal? But when you hear stories like yours, oh no, he's still out there. He's still doing it. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, we had a number of really fun guests over the years on the Funcast just by virtue of people that would come to Funko for whatever reason. And the sheer fact that they would come out of their way to go to little old Everett, Washington, that's, 45 minutes out of Seattle, that what usually, from what I could tell, was not some sort of surface level, like, hey, look at me thing. They were really nerds. We had one of my favorites, of course, he was Zach Ryder at the time in the WWE, Matt Cardona. Him and Brian Myers came in and got to know him. And still to this day, I text him every once in a while or chat about whatever. When he got back into the WWE, I texted him that night. I'm like, man, I am so happy for you. Just to follow his career since then. We had Sir Mix-a-Lot come on. That was a lot of fun. We had, my favorite all time was Chris Hardwick because
Yeah.
I was just a diehard Chris Hardwick fan from all his posting panels and the Talking Dead and his podcast before. And he came in for we get to hang out for an entire day. And then I got my dream at the end. I was like, would you want to do a quick podcast? And he's like, yes. And so I got the podcast with Chris Hardwick, which still will probably always be my favorite day in podcasting. But there's always a chance something better, like a Nathan Fillion, could come
You
along.
never
Who
know.
knows?
You never know. Yeah, I love that you kept some of them or whatever you have. I do the same thing. You never know. It's like, plus you want to have them. Nothing is ever, forever on the internet.
Right.
You put it out there and it could be lost. So like, this is going to be on YouTube. It'll be on wherever you want to listen to it, but it doesn't mean it's always going to be there. But I'll always have it, backed up on 7 different hard drives. But I'm anal retentive about keeping backups. Um, yeah, when you talk about like Hardwick and stuff, he's kind of, honestly, Hardwick is kind of the king of podcasting. He's the
Yeah.
man that really set a tone when it come to having a conversation, especially with the Nerdist and everything else, and which I don't even think he is attributed to anymore. I think he left them, but
Yeah, there was a weird fallout with his ex and him, and some accusations were thrown around. And for a little while,
oh
he was canceled. But I think all that was sussed out and proven to be
yeah, yeah,
false.
I forgot about
And
that. I
he's
forgot about that.
kind of gotten back into it here recently. He just relaunched a podcast with AMC that's both a visual and audio medium. And one of his first guests was Nathan Fillion. And who did he just have on the other day? I forgot who it was. Another one of my favorites. But I'm glad to see he's gotten back into. I know he had kids, or at least a kid, and decided to take a little time off. And he got into music. He's been touring, doing different things. The guy's like he's a jack of all trades and a master of a few, actually. But
You being a fan of Disney, you might have. Did you ever check out the? It was a show that he did for the Nacelle company where it was an auction, a Disney auction, and he went through and did that, and I thought that was a real fun watch. Uh, uh, Fan or friend of the podcast, Brian Volk-Weiss directed that one, and
oh, cool.
that was a good one.
Yeah, I saw
Right.
because he has a whole bunch of the memorabilia from around the parks, including I think the coolest thing I heard him talk about was one of those banners from the Haunted Mansion that when it stretches out in that opening area, he has one
Yeah.
of the original banners from that, the artwork, which I think is
Yeah, they
really
covered
cool.
that in the docu-series as well. It was really good. And there was something else he bought. I think it was the like one of the teacups, the spinning teacups.
Oh, how cool would that
And I
be?
was like, put that in your backyard as a
Right.
conversation piece. So like obviously, for people that don't know you, you are a collector of Sully from the Big Blue Monster, as it were, from Disney. Um, exactly what started that, and have you ever found yourself saying, okay, maybe this is enough, or is
I
it
don't know
never
what
enough?
that enough word means as a collector. I sadly have no limits. It's funny. I went to go see Monsters Inc. I was always a Pixar fan from the very first, like Toy Story hitting the theaters. And when Monsters Inc. came out, I knew nothing about the character names. So it literally settled in my theater seat. Here comes the guys on screen, and they announce his name, and I was like, wait, you got to be kidding me. And I love the movie. It's still one of my favorite Pixar movies. Ironically, not my very favorite, but one of my favorites. And it just was so easy to find merch that I started collecting a few things. But what began my entire uh, journey into Funko and going to work for them started with a couple of pops, and specifically that 2011 SDCC exclusive flocked Sully. I was watching SDCC. I'd never been before, and I was watching eBay and going, "Hey, these pop things are cool." I had a couple already. I was like, and I see this Sully, like I gotta have that. I gotta find that on eBay. And I went to eBay, and I remember winning it for $35. And at the
Wow.
time, I thought, "Oh, that's crazy. That's like a $10, $15 toy, and I'm paying 30. Should I pay 35? Like, should I do it or not?" And of course, thank God it was a great decision, because now that's last I checked, like a $2,000 pop. And I have that one, and I have the big 9-inch Sully with Boo, and of course everything that Funko ever made, including a bunch of protos. But that particular one, the Flock Sully, would be the last one that I would keep in my collection if for some reason I had to get rid of the rest of them, because it means so much for so many reasons. And like I said earlier in podcasting, I decided to go buy Sully again because of that too. That helped that decision.
That's, and that way, in case you ever hit that Madonna level of famous, you're just that one named person. It's like, who's coming over
There's
tonight?
a
Oh, it's Sully. Oh yeah.
I'll have to
I
fight it out with the airline pilot though, because I think he's kind of got dibs on the Sully name after what he pulled.
That's a good point. Or even what's his name? Is it Chris Sullivan goes by
Yeah,
Sully, you know. And it's like I remember seeing him on an episode of what was it? Hometown. And I like tangentially I heard Sully and I thought, really? It's like,
and
oh
then you see a
okay.
guy that looks a lot like me. It's
Yeah,
shocking how much we look alike. Yeah,
it
it's
is.
really funny. I had met Hardwick, and when I'm talking to Hardwick, he goes, "Chris Sully." He goes, "That seems so familiar. You seen we met before?" And he was like, "I'm rolling through my phone." He goes, "I have a Chris Sullivan." He goes, "Wait a minute, you look like him." And that kind of started that whole thing. Word got to him somehow that there was a lookalike out there going by Sully. And I went to Rose City Comic Con in Portland, which is only a few hours from where I live. And he thought Funko was going to have a booth there. So he had actually gone out on his own, walked around trying to find me. I would happen to be going just for fun. And the first place I went was to his booth. And I walked up and he just looked right at me and he goes, "You must be Sully." And we talked for a little while, showed him my ID just for proof. We took a photo together. And it was just such a fun interaction. And then like a year later, he reached back out to me and was like, "Hey, I can't seem to find any of my taser face pops anywhere. Can you help me get some more?" Unfortunately, they didn't make them after a certain amount of time. They were vaulted. And I
Yeah.
wish I'd kept his email address. That's on my Funko email, and that went by a long time ago. But
Oh,
ironically, he's going to be on the rookie spinoff. So him and Nathan Fillion are going to share some screen time. Yet another connection where I'm
there you go.
hoping one day.
I don't typically name these episodes, but I'm thinking this one should just be called Nathan Fillion.
Some people think he's the guest, and then they
Yeah,
get me. I don't
exactly.
want to disappoint anyone. I'm not Nathan Fillion. I just wish I was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, and every time we see Sully, out in the wild, we always think of you. And I know we've sent you things over the years. Spoiler alert for everybody watching: we have mailed Sully things in the past. And yes, okay, you have the boxes. This is something for anybody that doesn't watch his Twitch streams on Friday nights. It's the box game. Would you like to explain the box game to everybody? I know you could do it way better than I could.
Well, I don't remember the exact origins of it, other than I loved when I was on the Funcast. I loved creating like game show type ways to participate, to have fans participate. And so when I was streaming, I tried to come up with a game and a chance for somebody to win prizes. And I just grabbed some. We as Funko collectors, we have a ton of these boxes laying around, these individual sorters. And I had some, so I think I grabbed them and put some prizes in there. And basically, the idea is you watch my stream, you earn some points just for watching. It's free, and then you can use those points, redeem them for tickets. And on Friday nights, we play the box game. I fill it with stuff like Funko Pops or Bitty Pops or stickers, or I have stuff from my friend who's a designer, toy maker. Priscilla, we'll put her stuff in there. I'll put Rocky Moto, anything you collect, we'll put in there. And I give the fans a chance to put their tickets in, user points to get tickets, and then a chance to win something from one of their boxes. We do like a game show. So they tell me which box they want. There's 4 or 5 of them. And then we go through and show them what all the boxes that they didn't win had in there, and eventually show them the prize they did win. And I've given away anything from, a 299 biddy pop all the way up to, I think the best thing I ever gave away was a holographic Darth Vader pop that is currently worth like 750, $800.
That's
I gave that
blue, I
away in
guess.
one of my
Is that-
first years. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was on Star Wars Day, I think. And I was like, here, I'm going to put this in there, kind of hoping the person wouldn't pick the box with that in there, but they did. And I'm like, well, great for them. It's always going to be a good story. I wish I remember who won, but
Yeah, and every week I would see the boxes and I was like, okay, Sully needs boxes to have something on them. So I decided to draw and I took 5 boxes and drew 5 different designs for each one and sent them to him. And I think I even sent you a Christmas one once,
you
didn't
did.
I?
You did. I
Yeah, okay.
swap it out at different times of the year. I did pull it up. Here it is. Yeah, this just comes out in like November and December every year.
Yeah.
So it's the most pristine of all of them right now.
Yeah, if anybody questions whether or not I can draw or not, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. And these things, they've held up really well. I mean, I take care of them. I don't throw them around. But
That
after
was
5 or 6 years of being featured every Friday, they're still going strong.
Yeah, occasionally, like, I'm a lurker. I'll be watching, like, I'll watch on YouTube, and I don't know if it's something about your comments. You see the Twitch comments, but you don't really see the YouTube ones as often.
It
And
is
like,
tricky.
yeah, and I'll say something. I'm like, it's flowing so fast and stuff. So I'll lurk and I'll see them and like, okay, the boxes are still holding up.
Oh,
You
heck
know,
yeah.
most of the time we get boxes,
Yeah,
we
there
end
won't
up
be any
sending.
replacing those anytime soon.
No. Yeah, most time we get those boxes, we end up sending them to my pops because they're always needing them to send to people and stuff like that. But our buying of Funko has kind of dwindled. So,
I've
maybe.
definitely backed off of it a lot over the years. I still get into some. There's a few lines that I definitely have to jump on. I just saw there's another Sully coming, so I'll
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
have to get that. Yeah.
Most recently, I bought Shepherd Book.
Oh,
Um, I
nice.
I needed to have that. I'm trying to get all the Fireflies. I don't need another Malcolm, Nathan Fillion. I don't need I don't need 2 of those, but one of each character.
Yeah. I've got the original line, and I think I have my wash is autographed by Alan Tudyk.
Ooh,
I never did get the Malcolm Reynolds signed by Fillion because I had him sign some other stuff, but I do have the prototype for the original Malcolm Reynolds. I found that years ago, and I was like, that was one of the first ones I added to my collection when I first got into Funko Heavy.
that's awesome. Now, just I know you like Stargate. I know you're a Stargate
Mm,
guy because I think back to when you would do the lives on Funko. One of my favorite moments was suggesting Stargate pops and you pointing up at the monitor as you see that coming down, and it's one of my favorite moments. And now, of course, they've happened. Although whoever is in charge there has been really weird about what they're putting out. I mean, I'm looking at them now because they're all opened and on a shelf in front of me. But like, we got a Jack, we got a Daniel, but they didn't give us the SG1 versions, so they just skipped them and went with Amanda Tapping and Teal'c. But
huh,
whatever.
that's really strange. Man, talk about heartbreaking. Seeing that the Stargate show that they were trying to get running is not going to happen now.
Yeah.
Hashtag save Stargate. But I was really hoping that that would drum up some interest and get people back into it because that is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi series, from the movie with Kurt Russell all the way through to the movies they made with the SG1 team and Atlantis. And I loved. I want to go back and do a rewatch one day, but that is a task. There are a lot of
Daunting.
episodes.
Yeah, I have everything physically, thankfully, but because there for a while it was difficult to find. Now at
Yeah.
least Prime owning them makes it a little bit easier. Um, and then we were recently, our niece graduated college, and she was going to Asheville University here in Ohio. And I was like, okay. And we were gonna go there for a graduation party, and I knew this was my one chance to see the Asheville Stargate. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's
Nah.
okay. So there's a guy in Ohio, Asheville, Ohio. He and his sons built a life-size Stargate in their
Cool.
backyard, and it's out in the middle of a cornfield, just out in the middle of nowhere. And you got to go out there and you got to trek. You got to you got to make the trek.
Yeah.
But my father-in-law and I were looking at each other, and he was bored. And I said, "You want to go for a ride?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we put it up on the GPS and went out and found it and took some pictures and video. So
That's
it,
really cool.
yeah, it's definitely worth it. If you're ever in Ohio, Asheville, Ohio, it's worth looking up. Google Maps, the Stargate pops right up.
Oh, that's awesome. I used to go to Ohio before my Funko days a couple times a year. There was a printing company I worked for, and the main software we use, their office was in Cleveland. So I would
Oh,
go to Cleveland twice a year, and I got to go see LeBron play with the Cavs a few times. I went to go see back when they were the Indians. I went and saw David Wells pitch for the Yankees against the Indians back then. But anyway, I was bummed once I learned you were from Ohio. I was like, dang, if I had those travels, I would find a way to pop on over. But I haven't been back to Ohio in a great many years. It's been at
I
least 10.
yeah, you probably been pretty close. Did you ever make it over to see Cisco when he lives over in Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
Johnny Cisco.
I went to
Uh,
Philadelphia. Yeah, uh-huh.
yeah, okay. I got
A previous guest on your podcast.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. He was one of the first people I was like, come on. He's like, well, I don't know Star Trek. I'm like, come on, Johnny, we gotta talk. So,
I
but
just saw him at SDCC as well.
yeah, I didn't get much picture wise from him. He's pretty good about if he sees Star Trek, he was out, I think it was about 4 weeks ago. He and his wife were out thrift shopping, and he's like, I found some Star Trek stuff. I was like, okay, and I got like 25 pictures. And he's like, what do you need? I'm like, well, damn, Johnny. Like, I can't afford the shipping on all this. Yeah, but I I think I owe him for a book. I got to get with him. He did buy me a book. So,
It must have been near some greatest American hero stuff. That's how he saw it. Yeah.
exactly,
Because that's
exactly.
going to catch his eye from a mile away every time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that was like that was the one thing like we talked about when he was on was the comic and everything, and I know that was his main goal for San Diego. So,
Yeah, I think he met William Cadigan. It's got to have been multiple times he's met him, but he was telling me about that. There was a panel and they were going to sell the comic, and William Cat was going to be autoing, but I couldn't make it at the same time. I had something else. So,
yeah, the comic is really good. First issue came out last week for the
cool.
masses, and it's if you're a fan, it's worth a read. I think it's only going to get 5 issues.
Oh,
I
man.
don't think it's going to be a long run. Even if you wait till a trade, it's definitely worth checking out.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, anyway, but yeah, I'd like and as for Stargate, you're right. I would love to have seen that happen. I think that was a depressing thing. Now I guess we have to talk Star Trek a little bit. Do you have any Star Trek love in your repertoire? Anything that you
Absolutely.
oh,
Yeah, and I don't just say that for the purpose of the show. I mean, I was a Star Trek TNG fan for sure. I grew up watching the classics, and I never got into it as a kid, but then I don't know, 10, 11, 12 when TNG started, and I had gotten this little for my birthday one year. I got this like, camcorder thing that recorded the little cassettes. It was called
hmm,
like a PSX 2000 or something random like that. But the reason it's important is it came with a little monitor so you could plug it in and play. I was not allowed to have a TV in my bedroom, but my mother didn't know that that little monitor also worked as a TV. I could connect an antenna to it, and I figured it out. This is early tech days for me, and I would stay up and watch black and white Star Trek TNG right after Arsenio Hall. I wasn't supposed to be seeing any of that. But I would watch TNG, and then finally I got to watch it later on in life in color, and it was way better in color. Who knew? But I loved it, and that began my love affair with Star Trek, and I was a huge Enterprise fan. I know you've talked about that on because I love Scott Bakula and Quantum Leap. I thought that was a great series. Took a little pause. I didn't ever get into Deep Space Nine, but then I got back into it with Discovery and Strange New Worlds, and I've watched almost all of those episodes. I just lack a few to be caught up, and I just love the lore. I mean, people will say Trek versus Wars. I think there's plenty of room for all of it for all of us in this world. I love the differences between the two, and I just love the Star Trek is a little bit more cerebral and a better look on the future. So
yeah, I've always said, in Star Wars, they're fighting for a better future. In Star Trek, we have the better future.
that's good.
But yeah, and that's good. The thing is the one thing that caught my attention was TNG coming on after Arsenio Hall, it reminds me of around here, like locally here. That was one thing, like Star Trek, specifically like Voyager. Once we got that, I'd have to stay up. So like I'd have to negotiate with my parents. Like, okay, I want to watch it. It's on a Monday night. I have to go to school the next day, but I need to stay up until 1 o'clock to watch Star Trek. Now, I could have just recorded it, but I didn't want to tell them that.
Yeah.
So I would have to give up my Friday nights so that I could, have my Monday. So like Friday night, weekend didn't matter. I had to go to bed early, and I had no problem with it. Star Trek was worth it.
That's a good trade-off. I mean, if
Yeah,
you love something like that, totally worth it.
yeah. Yeah, I ended up doing that with Star Trek, and then I would keep it going with. There was another show that was on Nowhere Man. I had a thing for that. It was a Bruce Greenwood show. Not many people have heard of it, but I got a kick out of that show, and I was like, I gotta watch it. And it was Monday night at midnight. Like, well, what kind of sick joke were these people doing? But
It's crazy.
yeah, I think by the time TNG ended, it was on at like 7:30.
Yeah.
Like, but a little too late.
Yeah, I really wanted to rewatch that one day. It's another one that would take, it's a bit of commitment because there's so many episodes, but every once in a while, something will come across Instagram or Twitter that's, oh, this famous person, did you know they were in an episode of Star Trek? And 99% of those are TNG. And I'm like, whoa, like, I wish I'd known. I got to go back and watch that at some point.
Yeah, even some of them surprise me. Like it'll be a voice, or like their face was muffled or wearing
Yeah.
makeup, and I think, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, like that was. If you go back and you watch one of them, I had Spencer Garrett on, and
Yeah.
like he was on TNG, one of the famous episodes called the Drumhead, and like I knew that that was coming up, so I'm like, I called Spencer and I'm like, hey, we need to do this episode, we got to talk about it. And that's why he came on, and as like he's like, well, how long has it been? I said 35 years. And it's just the longest silence you've ever heard, as that time starts to go through your head, and you're like,
Oh, no.
how has it been 35 years? um but yeah, some of them are, you go back and you watch TNG. Some of them are a little dated. Season one specifically. Anyone watching this is saying right now, Code of Honor. Code of Honor is an episode that you should never rewatch, because it sets back the race relations, 200 years. But yeah, honestly, some people will even tell you, just skip season one and two. It
Yeah,
depends.
I don't think I could. I'm a bit of a purist, but it did backfire on me. I tried to go back and watch, ironically, Greatest American Hero. Like 10, 15 years ago, I bought the box set and I had these great memories of it. And I loaded it up and I was so excited. And I watched episode one and I put the DVDs back in the case and put them back on the shelf. And I'm like, I'm going to leave it the way it was in here. I just don't think I can do that to myself. But I don't know. I remember enough of TNG that I was a little older when that came out that I think I could get through the rough patches to appreciate the art as a whole.
I completely understand the nostalgia. Like, do you remember Voyagers with Phineas Bogg? He had the stopwatch that would travel through time. It was he and the
Yes.
kid. Okay. See,
Yes.
that's one of them. Like, I love that show. I tried to rewatch it and I was like, no. I
Yeah.
want the memories. I want to remember it, loving it, not ridiculing it. So, I get
It's
that.
a you introduced me as the of was it the purveyor of positivity at the beginning. It's something I fight with every day because there is this trend for whatever reason where people just want to tear everything down on the internet now. And no matter what, I have to remind myself that one, everybody's allowed their opinions, but two, like they don't get it. If you've ever been an artist or tried to create anything, tried to make anything for others to consume, you know how difficult it can be, from a podcast to a live stream to a movie, whatever. And so even if it's something I don't care for, like sadly, Johnny Cisco will probably drive here and kill me when I say this. Rewatching The Greatest American Hero and being like a little disappointed, I thought at the time, I know I loved it because it was ahead. We didn't have superhero movies that were any good, certainly not TV shows. So at the time, it was everything and it was great, and people worked really hard on it. And I will always remember those and always defend those things when people are like, oh, garbage, trash. I'm like, No. You clearly haven't made anything. If you did, you would understand how difficult it can be to do that. And not everything stands the test of time, for sure. Just
Yeah.
it's just impossible.
No, you're right. And I was yesterday. It's kind of in the past now, but yesterday I was on a podcast for Trek Culture, and they ask everybody that's on there, "What is your Cargo Bay 101?" Take something that you don't like from the Star Trek universe and launch it out into space to be gone forever. And I chose the fandom hate. I like.
I like that.
I was like, we don't need it anymore. There's too many people. Like I described on there, I had recently rewatched Star Trek Picard, and Picard season 3 is considered by unanimously by everybody the best Star Trek season ever.
Hmm.
And but so I'm going through and I'm watching 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 still wasn't too bad, rewatching. And I posted about it on I think it was Blue Sky, and somebody right away is like, they're all garbage. Everything new Trek is garbage, and I'm like, so I respond with a dude reference, like, well, that man, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
it's just like, but we don't need that. It's like, why did you just have to, like, I'm gonna crap all over something he loves. But no, and so we don't need that. And anywhere, any fandom.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they're always out there.
Yeah, I had an old coworker. I won't name names, but he basically, I think he was on the Funcast. He said that he's like, "There's no bigger haters of Star Wars than Star Wars fans," and
Yeah.
it's so true. I mean, that is one of the fandoms specifically that I see it in a lot.
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't get it. Like, you're allowed to love something, and then you're allowed. If you don't love something, there you can just kind of move on your way. There's no reason to comment on it. There's no reason to tear others down. Let people collect and enjoy and love the things that they do. When I was doing the Nerd Foo podcast years ago, before I'd gotten into Funko or really learned as much as I know now about this world, we were just talking about our fandoms, and somebody that is still a friend of mine today messaged in and said, "Hey, at work, I took all the stuff off my desk. I had pops and other things. I took it all down because a couple coworkers would come around and make fun of me." And I was like, adults are making fun of you for liking some things. I was like, next time this comes up, I think I said this on the podcast. Next time this comes up, you ask them how they enjoy doing their cosplay for their favorite football teams every week. Like, I guarantee they have a jersey that says Rogers on the back and they show up for work. And are you making fun of them for that? I don't think so. Everybody's
Good
got their
call.
thing. Let them have their thing. There's no harm in letting another person enjoy something.
You're
It's
you're you're right on. That's a great example.
I just wish that everyone could see that for a moment and understand that we could be so much further down the road and we would have so much more cool things. But when they make movies now and the executives weigh in, they have to go, well, the numbers say this many people hate this, so we can't do that. We got to leave that out. And unfortunately, a lot of our art is shaped by the angry mob online.
Well, that's even to that. Spider-Man did really well this past weekend. Great, whatever. And then I see an article an hour or two ago, Spider-Man already no longer in the top 10. I'm like, but it just came out, man. What it was like, and they're like, it's a failure. I'm like, how is it a failure? I mean, just it's clickbait. It's people trying to find something. It's like you know, the stupidest clickbait. I know there was something yesterday. We saw it yesterday, and I remember it was completely fake. It was one of these YouTube channels, and their preview art that they were using, the key art, was completely fake with faked
Yeah.
pictures all together, but they just wanted to get people to click on it. And it's same with that. It's like rage bait, click bait, whatever. I don't
It
fall into
sadly,
it.
sadly, I fall for it every once in a while because I'll see something. I think Collider, which is a site I used to read constantly, they've gotten into this habit of using the phrase, "the fate of this has been sealed," or blah blah
Oh
blah
man.
blah. And at first I saw, I was like, "Oh, that must mean it's over." So I went to read it, and they're like, "Two more seasons have been confirmed." I was like, that phrase, "the fate has been sealed," does not mean a positive thing, but it
And
got me to
everybody's
click.
using it.
Yeah,
It's
got
out
me.
there. It's too many people. Everything is. It's been sealed. It's been sealed. The fate is sealed. I'm like, okay. I click on the comments anymore and just let somebody tell me what the article says. It's so much easier. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the comments. That can be a fun place sometimes. I will
sometimes.
say, as much as I'll get upset by the fact that others won't let us just have our fun. Every once in a while, I will read a comment that I just howl, and I'm like, that is why I love the internet. Somebody just will perfectly wrap up a thought into 3 or 4 words. I wish I had that skill at that level because they win the internet with those comments. Of course, I can't think of an example right now, but there have been a few over the years that I've screenshotted and been like, I want to be that one day.
I what I really hate is like I will show up in a comment section to say something, and somebody else has already said it, and I go, okay, you did good work. You did good work. It's like,
Yep.
but but it's okay, And occasionally I'll get in there and I'll think, if I say this, I'm gonna be mean. I'm gonna be one of those people, and I think, no, I'm gonna walk away. I walk away. So
Oh, if I had a nickel for every time I typed out an email or a tweet or something and then backspaced it all the way up and thought, no, I just needed the therapy of actually doing that little exercise of typing it out. But I definitely don't want to send. It's
yeah,
all out there forever. And it comes back on people sometimes, even if it's not anything serious. It could be one day. I like to keep you can go through my thread and it's 99.9% like awesome, excellent, love this, great job, congratulations, like because I want that in my life. I
yeah.
want that as part of my algorithm and I work really hard to keep it that way. So
Oh yeah, I think my algorithm is something I really I we were looking at algorithms the other day, my wife and I, just for poops and giggles, because on Instagram you can look at what your algorithm is. I don't know if you know this,
heard
but if you
that.
go into your settings,
Heard
you can see what it is. And like mine was, woodworking videos, bears. Like I like watching bear videos and like dancing and Michael Jackson. I'm like, okay, well that's normal. It's like, but it was just like, well, at least I'm not looking at terrible stuff.
yeah.
Oh, with Star Trek is in there too.
Oh, I would
Um,
assume so. Yeah, you just left off the number one thing. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the when you were talking about nerd foo, for anybody that doesn't know you from the nerd foo days, the only thing I regret about nerd foo ending is not getting a lot of the merchandise that you guys were gonna do. I remember towards the end, you and Steve were talking about like it was like the Nintendo cartridges that looked like
Ooh.
the nerd foo cartridges. I was like, oh, I want that, and I there's a couple other things. I think weren't they even they weren't coasters, were they?
Yeah, we
No.
had some coasters. Yeah, we
Coasters,
did
okay.
lots of stickers, shirts, coasters. We the cartridge thing I actually revived. I had those sitting in my garage for a long time. For anybody that doesn't know, it's some guy made a mold essentially of the NES cartridge from the 80s, but he made it a flask. So there was a little piece in the top that you could take out, you could fill in with the liquid. And I found him at a show and he was selling them. He had made his own stickers to go on there. And I was like, "Hey man, you got blanks of these?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I got a ton of them." I was like, can I buy some from you? He made me a sweet deal. I bought 100 of them, and we made the stickers, and I just never got around to doing it. I found the stickers and the cartridges during COVID, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to do the Nerd Foo thing because we don't have the podcast going anymore. But I repurposed it and made it a Nerds Unite cartridge that's like me and my big orange hat as Mario. With the from Super Mario Brothers 2, like kind of flying in the air, and I did that as a designer con exclusive, and
That's
I even
awesome.
made little tiny keychains that are NES cartridges as well. I have one around here somewhere still, but was one of my favorite projects to work on because to line those stickers up just right on every cartridge, and then I hand numbered them, and it went over really well. People dug those a lot.
I still have some Nerd Foo stickers. I had one on my old laptop when it died, and I was talking to DeLorean about it, and I was like, what do I do? And he's like, just cut it off, like get a Dremel and cut it out, and then you get an art piece. I'm like, I like that. It is not easy to Dremel a laptop.
I
Um,
wouldn't think.
no, I had to throw the whole thing away.
Oh man.
Nothing worked out well, but it is a good idea. Shout out to DeLorean for it, but no. But
Well, I'm
luckily, I
making a
still.
note because I do have a handful left. I can get you one.
Well, no, I still have some. Like,
Oh, do you?
yeah, I got the sticker box here, and
Oh man,
like,
readily
I, I,
available. Look
I'm
at that.
I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet I could probably reach in and find something that's good right off the bat. But like anybody I've ever gotten stickers from, like I got my pops. There you go. Look at this. Right off the bat, there's one of you.
Yeah, nice. My Nerd Unite.
Yeah. So Yeah, I've got hundreds and hundreds of stickers and magnets and stuff. And if they don't make it onto a laptop, they're on the bumper of my truck, whatever. Like
Love it.
Nick and Ness from my pops, they had given me crap. They were here visiting a couple of years ago, the first time, and we didn't have a my pop sticker. So I was like, well, next time we saw them, I made sure I had a my pop sticker on the truck. 'Cause
That's
you
awesome.
don't want to let them down.
Nick and Ness are the best. They're such
Yeah.
great people. I got a chance to see them during New York Comic Con this last year because they won that prize from V Friends, Gary V. And at the time, I didn't have the finances to be able to really participate in V Friends. But since I've been working again, I got into it finally, and that is another great community. If we're talking about things that we collect or what kind of passions drive us,
Oh
and I
yeah.
love that Gary Vee, through what he's doing, is sending a message of positivity and lifting each other up, and we share a lot of the same values. I think it's hysterical because I can't wait to meet him one day and get to pick his brain and talk to him a little bit. We share so many similar things, but that guy curses like a sailor nonstop, and I just want to go, dude, you're making cartoons for kids. Can you leave out the F bombs? I love you to
Wow.
death, but I don't know why you need to do that all the time. He is a classic New Yorker, and it's a little bit different. If you're a classic New Yorker, the F bomb doesn't have the same weight as if you're an old guy from Texas. Just not the same thing.
Yeah, my wife loves the V Friends. She's got the cards. She's got the figures. She's big into those. Anytime she gets a chance to get one, especially if it's an elephant, anything
Oh, does she
elephant.
like the elephant?
Oh, she loves elephants. I'm looking in front of me, and there's a whole shelf of, it's kind of a mix of elephants and Kevin Smith in action figures right now. I broke down about 2 years ago, and I had all of my Clerks and Mallrats and Dogma figures, and I opened them all. And I was like, there's no reason for them to be in boxes, so I have like they're all over. Um, and then I end up I got another one it's over there now. I have the zombie Kevin.
Oh, fun.
Krohosky sent me that one. So,
Nice.
but I've been trying to get him on here. I told him, I was like, come on, talk about his photography. He probably gets more mentions on this podcast than anything. He was going to be my first guest. And
Really?
yeah, yeah, never happened, never happened. And I was like, I can't wait for you anymore, man. I got to do this.
Well,
So
he
I
was
moved.
up in your neck of the woods.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's still there,
well, he's in
but
Chicago.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see each other at least once a year. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. Usually at Christmas time, like he'll go home, and then when he comes home, we're really close, so we'll meet up for lunch or dinner, whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, it's good. That's the one thing when you look at everything that's ever come from, you look at Nerd Foo, you look at Funko, you look at all that stuff, and we're all really still connected.
Yeah.
I think like I could probably name off a whole bunch of people that nobody watching is going to know names for, and
Yeah.
but it's nice, like there's 4 people in that group today are having birthdays, and of those 4 people, I was able to text every single one of them and wish them a happy birthday, and I love that, so you become family in a way, in a weird way, but
Yeah.
maybe you don't
You
see them
know,
all the time.
that's one of the things that attracted me to V Friends, but going back, like you said, when we started Nerd Foo, we didn't know if anybody would listen. It was me and my buddy Steve. We recorded episodes, and slowly but surely, some people came on board and became regulars and got into it. And then when I went over to Funko, they came with me. But after I just got back from my 14th San Diego Comic Con in a row. When I went to the first ones, I didn't think I'd ever get to go to a second or a third. So every time I went, I was like, I got to remember every second of this in case I never come back. I'd never thought I'd go 14 in a row. I can't, and this is not a brag thing. This is like why I keep returning, because of all the things I've done, the people I've worked with, the companies I've been associated with over the years. I can't walk 5 feet on the show floor without running into someone I haven't seen in a while. And sometimes I haven't seen them in a few months, or sometimes I haven't seen them in 10 years.
Yeah.
And I love that. I like to leave my schedule open because I'll be walking along and I'll hear my name and turn around like, oh my God, I haven't seen you since blah, blah, blah. And we'll stop and catch up. And they're like, okay, I got to keep moving. Literally every 5 or 10 feet through that show floor. So it takes me an hour to go from one end to the other if I got somewhere to go. And honestly, if I miss an exclusive or don't make a panel or I miss a dinner, totally worth it because that is my nerd family, you know. And my wife, she's new to all this. We got married a few years ago, and she's like you know these people, but you don't during the year we don't see them. And I was like, I know that's what the cons are for. That's one of the reasons I love to go to them so much. I can't afford to fly up to Ohio and hang out with Ed for a weekend because if I did that with everybody, that's just way too expensive. But if we're all going to cons and we happen to bump to each other there,
Yeah.
cool. I don't know what that means about the level of friendship, but it still matters to me. You know, I think those people are an important impact on my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important regardless. It's you think about people that you know, even if you are like something is happening in their life and you take the time to drop a message and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you," or condolences, or happy this, or congratulations, then you're still part of that family, as it were. And I think
Yeah.
that's important. And I try to keep that. There's some of us from core groups have been going through some rough times, and at least they know they're not alone. And I think it's always important to make sure everybody knows they're not alone. So
Well, that was during COVID. When COVID started, it was definitely a rough patch for me because of personal life and then Funko laying off a ton of people. And I turned to streaming. And I've told my audience so many times, if it hadn't been for streaming on Twitch and having an audience of people that I couldn't hear them for voices, I couldn't see them, but they could type and I could read it. And it felt like I had people around me all the time. So in this period in when most of our lives we were totally isolated, I was surrounded by friends. And that kept me going through those tough times. If it hadn't been for that, I don't know where life would have gone. I don't know if I'd have made it to the other side.
yeah,
But thank God and again, those are the people, some of them I get to see at the cons. So it means a lot whenever I go to stream and I see names on the screen. They're not just a name. I've met them. I've hung out with them. I've had a dinner. I got to know them on a personal level. So it's like I'm just hanging out with friends. And I get
yeah.
to do that every Friday, which is a lot of fun.
I will say that group, like when you talk about that, I used to have a rule when it came to like we'll use Facebook as an example. My rule was I would not add you as a friend unless we have met in person and had dinner with each other. It was because but I had to start breaking that rule. First one was my wife. Second one was DeLorean, and then it was like, you know, gosh, who would be another one? Manny, people like
Yeah.
that. It's like you start breaking those rules because it's like, okay, I don't want to lose touch with these people. It's like you look at we'll use another name nobody will know, Austin Keel. Today's his birthday.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Austin, I've never met Austin, but Facebook friends, I see him all the time. I see what he's doing. I keep track of what he's doing. It's like, hey, congratulations on this. Oh, you're doing great. And that's great. It's a way of keeping a friendship. And sometimes if that's all you get, that's what matters still too. Like you talked about Steve, who you started
Yeah.
Nerd Foo with. I've never met Steve. I've never had a conversation with Steve, but we follow each other.
Uh-huh.
Even like today, I shared something and he clicked like on it and shared it himself. And it's like, to me, that's an interaction. I'll take it. So,
100%. Yeah, I mean, you think about it, if you go back 50 or 20, 25 years, we didn't have this ability to be connected at this level. And so if you wanted to connect with somebody, you could go to a con and maybe people shared the same interests. But now you have this ability to connect with people that share same interests from all over the world. And even though you'll only see them every once in a while, or you may never meet them in person, you probably have a stronger bond with them than your next door neighbor. Because I mean, I don't know anything but my next door neighbor's name. I've never been in his house. I don't really know any. I've never hung out with them. And I could go hang out with them anytime I wanted, but I'd rather go to a con and see somebody I haven't seen in 5, 6 months, you know?
oh no, no, that's an accurate statement for me as well. I don't even like my neighbor. So there's that.
Fair. It happens.
Yeah. Um, and I'm willing to tell them, but it's okay. But no, yeah, and it all comes down to that communication. It comes back to Star Trek. Thank you, Star Trek, because us having this conversation, this is very much in the vein of what it was like, 60 years ago when Star Trek was on and they're like having two-way communications and people thought, well, that's crazy. And, how about, we have a phone, that
Yeah.
There's an entire long list of things that Star Trek gave us that we have now. Laptops that you think you talked about TNG and you think about Next Generation. When you were watching it, we didn't have portable laptops like that.
Nah.
And if you did, they were thousands and thousands of dollars and they were bulky. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You look back on Friends. Yeah, Friends is a really good time capsule of a show
it
because
is.
there's an episode where Chandler gets his first laptop and that thing is like so thick, so big, and he's like, and I got 35 megabytes of memory. And I'm like,
Yeah, I do. I love watching old stuff for that exact reason. Those time capsules of shows. And you're right. I just started rewatching some of Friends while it's on in syndication, and you look at it and you're like, it was just a totally different life because we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have smartphones. And now I saw a clip today of teenagers from the 90s in high school, which was my era, and it was literally somebody had a camcorder because that was the only way to record anything. So everybody that came into contact with the camera was like looking at it and jumping around and doing funny stuff. Not a single person with their head down on a phone. It just wasn't a thing. There might have been that one kid whose head was buried in a book, but even when the camcorder came out, they got into it as well. Like it was a completely different lifestyle than what we have now. And I'm victim of it like anybody else. I there's times where I'm around other people and I find myself on my phone. I'm like, what am I doing? Put that in my pocket. Like live life and be with the people you're around now while you can.
yeah, you're right, and I try to do that too. I'm guilty of it, and sometimes like I think like, okay, I got maybe I need to check this. Did I get a message? It's like, who am I looking for? What am I looking for? No, nobody's
Yeah.
messaging me, But yeah, I have to say, I got to go back just for a second because you talked about Friends. Uh, when you're watching these old episodes, did you get to the episode with Fun Bobby, Monica's boyfriend that had the alcohol problem?
I don't remember watching that one recently. No.
Okay. You should look
Yeah.
him up. That's my co-host on the Invisible Man podcast.
How
That's
cool.
that's Vincent Ventresca,
How
and
fun.
he was Fun Bobby, Monica's boyfriend, in 2 episodes. So
How cool. Just to
yeah,
say you were a part of that is amazing.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've seen articles like when they did the 30th anniversary, and he was on the Today Show talking about it, and they brought in other characters and stuff, and but yeah, it's like a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't know who that is. Like, Fun Bobby? Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, I know who Fun Bobby is. It's like everybody knows Fun Bobby. But
That's hilarious. What'll resonate.
yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, I this has been good. I'm glad we had the talk. I do want to give you a chance to tell people where can they find you and like where are you at and what are you doing?
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Again, thank you for having me on. It was good to be able to chat for a while and catch up and finally have a real conversation face to face, as it were.
Yeah.
So now I'm on all the social media sites, but I'm a Twitter guy, and I know a lot of people disagree with that for various reasons. But it's always been the platform that I have just built the biggest following and had the most interaction with people. So I'm on Twitter, CS Sully, and I love interacting with people there. It's one of my favorite things to do, on any given day. I used to stream like 5-6 days a week, but life doesn't allow for that now. So I stream every Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, usually for a couple 3 hours, and we'll do like the box game that we talked about earlier. But it's an opportunity for that family, that group, to come together. We hang out, we talk about movies we've seen, what's coming up. We talk about NFTs, another sticky subject for some people. We talk about collectibles. I've been sharing my love for VFriends lately and cracking packs of cards, doing giveaways, educating people. That's a big thing I do on my streams. Not to say that I'm an expert, but when I learn something, I go heavy on it. I go deep, and I love to share that with other people because not everybody enjoys that process of going to learn stuff. So when it was NFTs, I was educating on that. Now I'm educating on card collecting and VFriends, and I don't know what passion I'll get into next, but I'm sure it'll be talked about on my stream. The key thing is we keep it positive, we keep it friendly, we lift each other up on the streams, we help each other. If somebody comes in with a negative attitude, I'll hit that ban hammer quick as I'll get out and I'll never look back. There's no like, oh, I'm sorry I messed up. No, you're gone. We like to keep it friendly here, and I don't want to lose that. I love that bubble that we have, so I keep that going. And then one thing we do every year that I'm very proud of, we've done it 6 years in a row, It's coming up again in November, and that's Extra Life. I don't know if you see this neon light behind me. For anybody who doesn't know who that is, that's an opportunity to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. We got into it during the first year of COVID, raised $70,000 our first year off of just a whim, like let's try it. And over the course of the 6 years we've been doing it, we've raised over $200,000 for children's hospitals around the country. It's me and a group of others that will stream every year. It changes a little bit. We play video games. We hang out. We talk. We do trivia, all kinds of stuff to raise money for the kids. But one of the things I've done is I've used the contacts that I've had from working at Funko and other companies to reach out to all these friends and go, hey, you work for X company and you make cool stuff. Can you give us some of that to give away or auction off or whatever? And that includes Funko and Rocky Moto, because of Mike Becker. He's given me some great stuff over the years, and companies like U2s and $7 a pop. And I could go down a laundry list of them, but Turtle Beach has given me thousands of dollars of stuff over the year, controllers, headsets, whatever. We give that away to people who help us raise money, and you don't have to donate a lot to be eligible. So for anybody who might find that interesting, that wants to be a part of that or help to see what's going on, or maybe even raise money on your own, we do that every November. It's called Extra Life. I talk about it on my streams all the time. And if you want to learn more, you can always come by and ask me and I can share. It's a wonderful organization. I actually got invited to go to their first ever like convention, if you will, of creators who raise money for Extra Life last September. And I got to meet some of the families that helped start it. And I got to meet some of the people behind the scenes that do the administrative work and help make Extra Life happen. And so now it means more than ever to me. I mean, it already was a big deal, but that's something I'm very proud of, the money we've raised over the years and the number of people we've educated on Extra Life and how they can help. So want to be a part of it? Come on.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm well versed in Extra Life ourselves. Myself, my wife and I donate every year, depending on be it you, my pops, or whoever. I know, like, to your credit, like I've won a keyboard from you. One of the giveaways you did about 5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
It was a keyboard and stuff, and yeah, I remember thinking, oh, I won something. Like you just, but it wasn't about that. It was about helping, and I like that. I do like that. I still get emails all the time from, things that we've helped out, and I appreciate that. And you, when you talked about helping people on your channel, and you talked about NFTs, you know me, I'm anti NFT, but
Uh-huh.
I did that.
There's an exception.
Yep, I did have to break down, and I had to suck it up because I wanted to be Star Trek complete on those pops. And I was like, okay, I have to learn how to do NFTs. I have to learn how to do my wallet. I have to learn how to do this. I need to know all the lingo. So I watched all your videos, and luckily I can retain information like that. So it was like, okay, I watched it, got it, learned how to set up my wallet. It was nice. I went in, I got everything. I have multiples of some of them, so that helped out. I've gone back. I have all of the original NFT Star Trek ones now.
Cool.
So like, and then when I was done, I had all the extra stuff. I gave it away. I just gave everything away. I was like, someone's like, well, I need this. I was like, well, I'll give you everything I have. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I was like, no, you can have everything. It's like I didn't want it. So
Just wanted
apparently,
the physical pops. Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted the physical pops. Once I had those, I took screenshots, or I actually took video of all of the coins like moving, or the digital
Yeah.
pops, and I recorded the videos so that I could put them up on like on my social channels. I was like, and that was like, it was like a post or whatever. Once I had that, I didn't give a crap. Here,
Yeah.
take it. You can have it. And then I was done. And when, of course, drop went away, I was like, well, there's nothing there. I already got rid of everything, so I didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about it.
It's
But
one of those interesting things like AI. It's just such a divisive topic depending on people's beliefs and what they're passionate about. And I somehow keep ending up in the middle of these things because like I use AI on a regular basis now. And I learn about it a lot so that when people do get passionate about it, I can be like, well, have you thought about this? I love to pose that devil's advocate, like, well, have you thought about it this way? And just see if I can kind of curb people's anger in a way.
Mm.
It was one of my favorite things at Funko. Not to get us on another 10-minute rant, but my favorite thing was when there would be the older guy who had brought a grandkid or their kid to the con, and the kid wanted something from the Funko booth, and I could see when they were walking up exactly what was about to happen. I could tell by their stride. They'd walk up to me like, "I don't get it with these things." Like, oh, you talking about the pops? Yeah, I don't get it. Why would anybody want those? And so my game was, can I find the thing that would get them to want to get in the booth? So I'd talk to them, be like, what are you into? Like, do you watch TV shows, movies? Oh, yeah, man. My favorite. I love Smokey and the Bandit. And I was like, did you know that we made the ride? You're like, wait a minute. You made the car? Like, yeah, we had it. We don't have it here in the booth, but we have it online. What's that website? No, let me get it. I would do that with every person that would come up with that attitude. And I was had like a 90% success rate of finding the gateway drug that would
Yeah.
get them into it. And I just loved it. At first, it would like, I could see the anger and I'd be like, I want to stay away from it. And then I started to just like crave it. Like, bring me that person. I want to
Now,
talk to them. So I still do
that's
that in different ways in my life now. But
Sully, you're not in the company anymore. You can tell the truth. Did Funko have a rule of like, like a drug dealer, give them a taste for free, and then we'll bring them in. Yeah.
they didn't. But part of our strategy that we used and worked beautifully was we did a giveaway like every single day on Twitter and Instagram, sometimes multiple times a day. I sent out thousands by myself. I sent out thousands. So did other team members of Pops to people all around the world. And it was such fun to be able to box it up and send it to them, knowing they're going to get this thing and it's forever going to have a special place in their collection, or they're going to flip it. I don't really care which, because they want it. And and I have a couple. I got my social media Freddy, the newest one from one of the team members that's at Funko now a couple years ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot what that feels like. Like I got a thing, and I don't want to get rid of that. It's going to stay in my collection forever now because it has a story to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I now to my credit, we got rid of about 95% of our collection, but I still have one social media Freddy. I have the one signed by the entire Funcast.
Oh, cool.
Still,
I don't even have one of those.
oh yeah. Plus, I have. Do you remember when during the Funky Hundo and I had Grohowski show up with the things and he got them signed? I still have that hanging on my wall behind
Oh,
me.
how cool! With the
Um,
poster?
yeah, here. Actually, this
Yeah,
is easy to do. Give me a second.
that was such a fun event. We for anybody who's listening, we the Funko Funcast. We did it at Funko, and it was several of the marketing. Oh yeah, the bill.
Yep,
That's right.
yep.
So cool.
And it's still
We
sitting there
had the
on my wall.
podcast, and we were coming up on the 100th episode, and I went to a couple of the team members that handle the cons and stuff, and I was like, hey, could we do an event? And they're like, well, there's not really budget for it. And I was like, I think we could charge just a nominal fee from people. I think we charge like $14 a ticket or something like that. That's what the math ended up working to pay for the venue and everything. And we went off book. We didn't get permission. We just did it. We went to the venue. We're like, how much is it? We're like, we're gonna bring in the money, then we'll pay you. Can you go ahead and book it? They're like, cool, yeah. And so we got this movie theater. I think it's the oldest one, the west of the Rockies or something like that. That's in Everett, and it housed, I don't know, 500-600 people easy. And we did a live 100th episode of the podcast. And when we went in, we're like, when do we have to be out of here? They're like, you don't. Oh, really? And we didn't have nobody was telling us what to do. So we had on guests that were members of that Funko employees, and we had friends that were celebrities record videos that we showed one time in that room. We showed a blooper reel of all the times that we messed up while recording videos, and some stuff that none of the licensors ever would have wanted to hear. They would have been they would have been so mad if they knew we showed that. But we're like, no one can record this. So as far as I know, no one did, and it only aired that one time. But we had
I
such a blast.
I have a picture of Jessica and I on the screen,
Yeah,
like, and up on the
you were
big
one of the
screen.
celebrities.
Yep, yeah. And then I still have Dima's video. When Dima put together the video, he sent me a copy of it,
Oh,
and
his intro?
yeah, I still have it. And I was
That was
like,
wild.
yep. But it's like Corgi and me, and I think Julie's on there, and a whole
Uh-huh.
bunch of people. It was just, it's a, and it's so old now, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that
that's
was
it's great memory.
20. Was that 2019?
Yeah, it was, well, maybe 2018.
2018. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Because 2019 was when we had the Emerald City Comic Con live when we couldn't have the in person event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. I'm glad we at least made it to that. I think we did 113 or 14 episodes before COVID came along, and I wish there had been some version of that stuck around because it was a great way for Funko to connect with the fans. But I'm also kind of proud that no one ever tried to do what we did because it probably would have broken my heart to hear somebody else like run it into the ground. So that is like a little time capsule of that time when we built Funko to just astronomical numbers. That marketing team that we had, there were some rock stars on that team, 100%. They were great people. I miss them terribly. I hope one day to get the opportunity to work with them again in some fashion. I used to joke all the time. I'd be like, this is all going to run its course one day, and Funko's going to be maybe not as popular. But then somebody who runs a con is going to go, we want to get that group back together again for a reunion panel. So I'm just waiting on that. I don't think it's ever going to happen, really, but it would be fun.
I do want to tell you one more thing before I forget, because it was brought up at the beginning of this interview, and you brought up, Chris being your name and stuff. And one time, a long time ago, you had mentioned you thought about doing ChrisCon, and you would do ChrisCon. Now, this is a story that stuck with me forever. And recently, there's an episode, you go back a couple of them, it's Christopher Davidson was my guest. And if
Yeah.
you watch that interview, I talk about you and I talk about ChrisCon.
How fun.
And so, yeah, if you check out that episode, it's pretty close to the beginning of it. You get a shout out about ChrisCon, and so I was
That's great.
all,
I can't fully take credit for the idea. In fact, I ran into the Chris at SDCC this year and hung out with him for a while, and he was the one that wrote in about that concept, and we
oh,
just ran with it. Yeah, but there was a Chris that came up with the idea of ChrisCon, just not this Chris. We just took it
oh,
and ran with it
wow.
and made it an ongoing joke.
Well, see, I was giving you the credit. That's, there's certain things, certain jokes that stick with me. Every time I hear somebody's name is Trevor, I say no Trevor's allowed. You know, it's like,
Reese,
yeah,
that was such a great moment. Yeah, I'll never see a Trevor the same way again either. It was such a great moment. And we had a Trevor in the community who I saw like weeks later, and he's just like, man, seriously, of all the names.
yeah, and it sticks with you. But well, Sully, this has been great. I wanna tell you thank you so much for coming on. This has been fun. I hope everybody checks you out and you can increase your viewership by tenfold. Um,
Love
you
that.
couldn't ask for a better fun time to watch with your show. Friday nights live Twitch. You're on YouTube as well, but like take what I said. If you want to get a comment in, be on Twitch. So it's fast and furious.
Too
No
fast,
Tokyo
too
Drift joke.
I work that in wherever I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. But every time I see Tokyo Drift or I hear that music, I'm thinking that's Sully's theme song. So,
Yes, it
but
is. I'm never
hey,
going to get tired of it.
no, I'm gonna find a way to work it into this episode somewhere. I know I will.
Yes.
And see
Love
see
it.
how see how much YouTube lets me get by with trademarked music. So,
There was recently, I just saw it again today on Instagram floating around. There was a giant concert where they performed the Tokyo Drift song with an actual group of singers and keyboards and musical instruments. And if I find it, I'll send it to you. It's freaking brilliant. It's like when Metallica did S&M Symphony in
mhm.
Metallica. It's like that vibe.
All right, I like that. All right, man. Well, thank you, and stick with me a couple minutes here, and we'll wrap it up. But until then, live long and prosper, or shall you say your words?
Nerds unite.